Thank you for tuning into the podcast, and thanks to our sponsor, SS96. Still rocking with us in 2022, and it's so amazing. We appreciate you. SS96 is putting out new merch and still has some of your favorites. Get your Executive Productions t-shirts, Swish Masters t-shirts, as well as Farm Raised Entertainment t-shirts. Don't forget to check out Straight Stoners music, as well as my own release under Executive Productions. It's available on all streaming platforms, and new music is in the works, so stay tuned. Go to ss96.net and use the promo code SWISHMASTERS to get this kind of merch today. Thank you all again. We're grateful.
So this brings us to this conversation. Let's have a conversation about the Brooklyn Nets real quick. Swishes, I know a lot of you probably are Nets fans. You're excited about them. You know, KD and Harden. You know, me being an old OKC fan, I love seeing them back together. I'm cool with it. But no, unfortunately, as we talked about previously on the previous episode, KD is out. But it could be a significant amount of time. Kyrie is still half playing, only on away games.
Unplayed?
Yeah, so this leaves a lot of the pressure and stress on James Harden to try to get this team to some wins, especially with this team having a lack of depth because you're basing the entire salary around these three core players, which is understandable. So there's been reports out about James Harden being frustrated. James Harden responded with, "I'm frustrated because I want to win." That's definitely true. That's understandable. But there were other reports about the reasons why he's really frustrated. Hey.
I know where you're going with this.
This is a lot. So, number one, these are sources. Okay. Sources say he has frustrations about Kyrie being part-time, for one. Two, apparently he doesn't like Brooklyn as much. Okay. So those are just a little bit of the reasons. Okay. And plus you're seeing things like, you know, as a player, you're probably having regrets like, bro, why I ain't signed up for this. I was expecting to have KD with me. I understand injuries happen, but I was at least expecting to have Kyrie.
Right.
You know, and I feel like, you know, this lack of chemistry, it's just tough because we're doing different lineup every other game. Right.
Yeah.
So it's definitely tough. So what do you think about these James Harden thing? And apparently this is leading to a lot of trade scenarios and teams potentially asking about the availability of James Harden. So let me remind people too, he can be a free agent next season. He did not sign an extension. So if anything, the trade could be likely. So what are your thoughts on James Harden?
Well, I was laughing because I read about the reasons that James Harden was unhappy in Brooklyn. And obviously, Kyrie being a part-time player is like, okay, I kind of have to just deal with that. It's kind of sucks because, like you said, he's kind of bearing the load right now, and KD is out. Kyrie just is halfway available. So I get that. That's frustrating. But I started laughing because he doesn't like Brooklyn because he doesn't like the cold. He says the weather in Brooklyn is not it's not what
it's definitely not Texas.
And I mean, coming from Houston, you know, Houston, Atlanta, Vegas,
right,
warm. It's a different vibe. I get it, you know, like that was just funny to me.
Man, Harden want to live his best
cold,
life, man. You can't live your best life in the cold.
He can't be him, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we know who him is. I don't know if y'all remember what James Harden be doing in his own time.
Oh yeah, James Harden.
That man likes to party.
That man's a club legend. You know. I guess it's Brooklyn. I feel like Brooklyn has stuff, but it just might not be Houston, man.
It's cold, man.
It's cold. He doesn't like the weather.
Body of water. It's cold.
And not to mention, in the great state of Texas, there are no state taxes, so he's losing a little bit of money too. So it's like, well, Kyrie's not here. It's cold, and I have to pay taxes now. So, dang, you know what I mean? Like, it's not as fun for me anymore, and I get it. But I feel like James's situation currently is not that bad when you look at the team's status right now. Like, obviously, KD is hurt. He's out. He's gonna be back at some point, hopefully. No rush. Hope he recovers well. Kyrie, yeah, that's a situation that is just looking like it's gonna be what it is. He's a part-time player. But they're second in the East. Still, well, if not second, top 3, top 4 team in the East. They don't have
top 5.
Top 5. Okay.
Fifth.
I had
because let me also add this to his frustrations. They've been on a losing streak with all this going on.
Yeah, I think
they still have a tough schedule ahead. For example, they're playing the Warriors. As of this recording, it'll be tonight, Saturday.
Yep.
Then they know how that's going to be. Then they got the Suns on Tuesday. Another tough out. Kings should be one of them. Then you got the Jazz. Then you got the Nuggets. Then you got the Celtics. Then eventually you got the Heat. This is a kind of a tough stretch right here. And as long as KD might be out and his chemistry is not working out and you're losing, that just adds to the frustration.
I don't even think is James Harden even playing tonight? I think he's out with a hamstring injury, actually.
There's reports I read says he's good to go. But I don't blame him if you don't want to play. Well, I know. It's tough.
Yeah. It's I tough. Get why he's frustrated. Just the inconsistent season that they've had as a team. Yeah, is alone frustrating.
And I'll also be frustrated about some personal things that he didn't get. If I'm James Harden, we'll get to that in a second. But he has reasons to be upset.
Yeah, I completely understand. Just the situation he's in is tough. It's tough.
Yeah. So what do you think should happen? Should the Nets, if you're the Nets GM, Harden did not sign an extension. The team's not looking too good. KD's hurt. Kyrie's here and there. Solely because of what the mandate is in New York. So, what do you think should be done if you're the Nets GM?
I'm not trading James Harden. That's just unless I get.
But Ben Simmons is out there right for the picking right now, and potentially Damian Lillard. But he's still he's still dealing with the injury and potential surgery. But anyway,
unless I'm getting, I don't know, an all-star starter. You know what I mean, like superstar back in return for James Harden.
Man, Ben Simmons potentially.
I don't know. I just don't. I don't pull that trigger right away. It's James Harden. Like James Harden is a generational talent, and Ben Simmons has the potential to be great. But as we've seen, he hasn't played since last season, and the last thing we saw from him wasn't that good. And I'm not doubting that he can, come in and be good for that team. But I think I was watching Jalen Rose, and he said that James Harden has been telling people he's going to test free agency next year. So if anything, he's probably going to stick it out. I don't really see the Nets making a move on Harden or for Simmons or anything like that. I don't really see that happening. If anything, they might lose him next year. I think that would be the most logical thing to do, because that way he can, I mean, honestly, he can choose his destiny. And the Nets just, I'm if I'm the Nets, I'm trying to keep him like right now. I'm trying to make him happy. I'm trying to do something to piece him together. I don't feel like the move is to move Harden. He's the only right now the only consistent superstar that you have. And I wouldn't risk that for Ben Simmons. And then I got Kyrie part time and KD's out. That's just me.
I think that's the thing right there. You got KD's out, Kyrie's part time, and it's like you could potentially lose James Harden to free agency. And you remember all you gave up to get James Harden, and then have him walk out the door for like nothing. I'm just saying that's tough as a GM. So as a GM, we would potentially want to get some assets back. So why not trade him? And then Ben Simmons don't work out, trade him again. So like, at least that's an asset. At least if anything, Ben Simmons can defend. He'll be good somewhere.
I mean, he's an asset, but this is James Harden we're talking about. The guy was averaging not too many seasons ago 36 a game. And yes, his role has diminished in Brooklyn, but I think James Harden still has that. He's just kind of been taking a step back because he's with KD now. And now that he's, not with KD and still trying to adjust to this team, he hasn't been able to be the full-fledged James Harden. And I feel like I don't want to give up that. This is a former MVP. I'm not giving that up for an asset like Ben Simmons, if you know what I mean.
I hear you. Well, so as in this, I agree they should keep him. And then eventually, if he doesn't want to stay, whatever, they can always do a sign and trade. So you still keep him, potentially get some assets back, because you'll have his bird rights, and that way you can extend them, and then you trade him. So that could work that way.
I'm interested to see what happens.
But New York could potentially lose two players. James Harden could be gone. And Kyrie could be.
If anything, I feel like Kyrie probably would be on the trade block before James Harden.
I mean, that's a good point. But do you remember the report that came out? Talking about if he gets traded, he'll retire. That was out there for some reason. I think I put out there to just not to trade him in fear, because what NBA GM will take a chance on that if those reports are out there? I just traded for nothing.
I mean,
so I'm just saying, that's out there too. So it's tough. I don't know.
It's the art of the trade, man. Players, not every trade is agreed upon about the player. You know what I mean? There's some trades that happen. They're like, oh, I'm here. Oh, all right, I'm playing, but I don't really want to be here anyway. So even if, Kyrie were to retire or not, it doesn't mean, that there's no guarantees in that he stays healthy. There's no guarantee that, he even plays at the same level. And it might just be from unhappiness. I feel like there's a potential, he could retire, because we've seen that he did not care about stepping away because of what he believes in, which, I commend him for. But that's just the art of the trade. And I don't know, that Nets situation is gonna be. I think we see more Nets movement and stuff happening really after this season, because this season is kind of I don't know. I don't see them coming out the East. I don't see.
You don't.
I don't. At this point, I really don't. I feel like unless they make a huge turnaround, KD comes back fine, sometime after All-Star break, I don't really see them being a threat to come out of the East. Milwaukee still is, formidable to me. My Heat, number one in the East right now. I'm always going to take my guys. Even Joel Embiid, doing what he's doing right now in Philly, I feel like they have the advantage over Brooklyn. And especially right now, James Harden is frustrated. Kyrie's part-time. KD's hurt. This is the time for every other team to attack because Brooklyn is just restless right now. There's no camaraderie to me. So if anything, if I'm the other teams, I'm like, let's go at it now. Let's get them out of the way because they're already like internally not together.
Good point. Very good point. I don't know. This is definitely a interesting scenario because again, they could wind up losing 2 superstar players, and you're already lacking some draft capital, and young assets are gone. It's tough. It's tough because say they do leave, you still have KD, who's the only one really locked up for the next couple of years. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I was gonna have some chance with KD on your team, absolutely. But as we see now, KD is somewhat, I want to say injury prone, but he's had some type of injury every year that have him out for like maybe a month, or more. So I don't know. It's tough. I don't know. We'll see. Look forward to see what they do.